What up? Welcome, man. I'm trying out this melon app. You know what I'm saying? Trying out this melon app tonight and see what I can come up with. I'm trying out melon tonight to see what I can come up with. You know, first I got some things I gotta get off my chest. Hey, like my boy Kel say, what's going on? What's going on? Y'all already know. Y'all already know. I've been working on gym. I've been working on gym. I've been working on gym. I've been working on gym for these last few days. Hey, Miss April. I've been working on gym for these last few days. And after reading after listening to uh Daryl McDavid, what up, Courtney? After listening to Daryl McDavid's motion and the allegations being spoken about to as far as Jim and Miss Cruel communications, uh, would lead one to think what was really going on, and for the government to try and make it seem as if there's nothing to these allegations being spoken to by McDavid's defense team is like, okay, y'all really expect the public to trust the same people who are playing this dirty game. Y'all expect us to believe and take y'all word on face value when nothing that you all have said or done has shown us to be trustworthy. Um, I was listening to it and listening to what the attorney for the AUSA was saying, as if the emails between DeRogatis and Crew were just that, a few emails or whatever the situation may be. But a few things that were said within these emails, a few things that were said within the emails, the correspondence of the email that caught my attention. And one of the first things, one of the first things that stood out to me, and one of the first things that one of the first things that kind of make me question, uh try to one of the first things that um makes me question the relationship of Miss Cruel and Derek Goddess is the first thing that Miss Cruel said to Derek Goddess was she thanked him for speaking with her earlier. So you'd ask yourself, she thanked him for speaking with her earlier that day. So is it safe to say that they could have possibly also met in a private room, had a private conversation? Um, what could they have talked about in private? Because she go from saying, "Thanks, Jim, thanks, Jim, for speaking with me earlier today," until later on that day he sent her a PDF of his book and also a manuscript. And the thing about this is, when you listen to the transcripts, Darren McDavid's, if you listen to the AS AUSA motion, it says that Cruel, she really wasn't. She responded back, but Jim was very eager to participate, to help in any way he could. And that is a problem with me, because after you spoke with the AUSA, Jim, then you sent them a PDF of your book, then you sent them a manuscript of the book, and then you reached back out again. When you sent them the PDF, you requested a receipt to make sure that they received it. So you wanted to make sure that they got this manuscript to your book. You requested a receipt, took confirmation to make sure that it was received by them. And then you kept following up with your emails, asking them if they needed any more information. All they had to do was ask questions. You were so voluntary to the AUSA, but you were so voluntary to the AUSA, but when asked to testify and stand up for these women that you so-called care about, you pled the fifth. And I feel like from these text messages, from these email correspondence between Jim and the AUSA, and him volunteering information to the AUSA, that alone he should not be able to plead the fifth. If you are volunteering all this information, if you are volunteering to give up any information that you have to the AUSA, why is it a problem when you are asked to take the stand? What's up, Gail? Why is it a problem for you to take the stand? But you can tell the AUSA if they need any information, all they have to do is ask questions. You so willing to participate with the investigation, but you don't want to take the stand to tell the world, where did you get this tape, or how did you come about getting this tape? See, we the people have questions. We the people deserve answers. We the people would like to know, what was your personal motive? What was your personal vendetta against Robert Kelly, to the point to where you were so willing to participate and give information, whether it was true or false? You were so willing to distribute information, whether it was true or false. But when asked to get on the stand, raise your right hand like a man, you had none of this energy. What was all of this energy at when the AUSA, when they thank you? What did y'all talk about? What did you and Angel Crew talk about earlier, before y'all start emailing each other? What was going on? What was the personal conversation about before y'all start emailing each other? One thing I do know, what y'all were talking about earlier that day when you spoke with the AUSA, y'all spoke about your book. Y'all spoke about the details in this book, because the first thing you did after speaking with the AUSA, the first thing you did, you sent over a PDF copy of your book to Angel Crew. Then you sent over a manuscript and requested a receipt, because you wanted to make sure that it was received and signed for by the person you intended to have it. Then you follow up with calls to volunteer any information that they may need from you. But when you are subpoenaed to take the stand, you plead the fifth. I don't get it. That just doesn't make sense. How do you have so much energy to volunteer information to the AUSA, but when you ask to take the stand, to stand up for the same women that you claim that you are out here trying to protect, you have nothing to say? Hello, Barbara. How is it even okay for Jim to invoke his Fifth Amendment right when he admit to committing at least 3 felony crimes? When he admit to committing at least 3 felony crimes, he touched the tape. There's supposed to be child pornography. He touched the tape. He watched the tape, and he also showed the tape to someone else before turning the information over to the police. That is 3 felony crimes that he committed. How was he able to be protected by the Fifth Amendment when he committed 3 felony crimes? But now we starting to understand why. Because he go and meet with the AUSA. He committed. He pleaded the fifth back in 2008. Back then, I'm sure he gonna try to plead the fifth again now. But with him volunteering information to the AUSA, he should not be able to plead the fifth. He should be made to stand firm on all the lies, all the accusations that he's put out on Robert Kelly. He should be made to stand firm on those allegations. He should be made to stand and speak to the validity of these allegations. No way he should be not held accountable for the smear campaign he has put out on Robert Kelly for over 30 years, for his whole entire career. I'm not going to say over 30 years. Jim built his whole career as a journalist, music critic off of stalking and preying on R. Kelly. So I feel if you're going to plead the fifth and not testify, none of the information that you give should even be admissible in court. Because if you bring in information, you should be able to stand behind it. If he bring information, he should be able to stand behind the information. But what have we seen him do? Countless times, time after time after time. He's always speaking on Robert. He always talking negative about Robert. But when he's asked to take the stand, to stand up for these women of color or these young black girls, he plead the fifth. So do he care about young black women of color? Do he care about young women of color? Or do he care about the stories that young women of color has to tell that he can publish and make money off of? I mean, I'm just a supporter with an opinion who hear things that doesn't make sense to me. I'm not a criminal law student. I'm for injustice. I'm for making sense. I'm for logic. And to me, none of Jim's logic make sense to me. You stalked this man your entire career. Soon as the police come after this man, you are so quick to volunteer information, Jim. But when Jim DeRogatis is asked to stand firm, double down on the accusation that he's been making, he pleads the fifth. I just can't make sense of it. Gail say you just nailed it on the head. It's the money. It is all about the money with Jim. He using now. They saying that they allege that R. Kelly used these women, forced labor, this, that, and the third. But these same women is volunteering labor. They volunteering their service for Jim to make money. He's taking their stories, writing about their stories, publishing their stories, making money off of their stories, and they are okay. They are perfectly fine with it. But if it's Robert Kelly that's giving them money, they have an issue with that. You saying that you are being, it's forced labor when you're giving $5,000 a month just for being associated with this brother. Make that make sense. Like I say, I don't have to be on here long to make my point and to get through what I'm trying to say. But what I'm trying to convey over to the people who's out here fighting and standing in the gap for injustice, bringing awareness to the injustice is this. The AUSA attorney speaks about these emails and try to make it seem as if the emails between Cruel and DeRogatis has no validity to it. But all you have to do is think and ask yourself, why would Cruel thank Jim for speaking to her earlier that day? What did they talk about in private? Why did she resign from Cook County Prosecutor's office? Because if you really want to know, I believe she knew she had been fucked up. I believe she knew she had been went too far. I believe she knew she had inserted herself too much. Because not only did she speak with Jim, she spoke with Jane Doe number 1, Jane Doe number 2, Jane Doe number 3, Jane Doe number 4. She was having private conversation with all of these accusers that's in the case. Gail say trust, he give them a little piece, some still broke, he not put much out. No, he giving them pennies on the dollar probably. They getting pennies on the dollar they getting pennies on the dollar from their story compared to the money that Jim is making off of their story. Compared to the money that Jim is making off of their stories, those accusers are getting probably a dime every dollar. They probably getting $1 off of each book sold. They probably getting $1 off of each book sold. But why is Cruel? That's a good question. I just thought of a good question. Why is Cruel implemented and talking to not only Jim DeRogatis, but the accusers as well? So she's implementing and talking to Jim DeRogatis, also talking to the accusers, and then she also resigned from the Cook County Prosecutor's office. Right, Gail? Exactly. Lifetime, Gail King, all of them made money off of the stories of these women. The alleged abuse that they supposed to been underwent with being with R. Kelly. Elvira, how's it going? But you gotta make it make sense. How is it that Cruz is in contact with all of the people on the prosecution side. She's in contact with Jim. She's in contact with RL. She's in contact with Lisa. She's in contact with all of these people who's coming against Chaos. But she's in contact with these people using a burner email account, which the state prosecutors came out and said. The prosecutors came out and said that Homeland Security advised them to make up a fake email. Homeland Security advised them to make up a fake email. So when they went to make up a fake email, the first name came to their head was Pied Piper. That sounds like you antagonizing me. That sounds like you teasing me. If I'm a victim of Robert Kelly, how are you contacting me through an email that says Pied Piper? What type of message are you trying to send? Or are you trying to act as if you are R. Kelly? Or are you trying to pretend to be Robert Kelly, reaching out to some of these accusers who's saying that he's done such things to them? So y'all go and create an email that resembles one of his personas, the Pied Piper. And you out here having conversations with some of the alleged accusers. Can y'all make that make sense? I know I ain't tripping. I know I ain't tripping. I know I'm not tripping. So Homeland Security advised y'all to make an email, and the only email y'all can come up with is the Pied Piper 312. And then you use that email to reach out to these accusers, which y'all trying to antagonize and really y'all taunting. Are y'all taunting these accusers? Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to the accusers with an email that say Pied Piper. Oh yeah, they gonna get real livid when they see this. Make this shit make sense. All the fucking names that they could have thought about to make an email address out of, they choose to make an email address out of Pied Piper to contact accusers. Can you make that make sense? So Homeland Security advised y'all to do that. I mean, I ain't the smartest person in the world, but I ain't been living under a rock. So y'all go around saying that R. Kelly intimidated witnesses, obstructed justice. But if you really want to look at it and call it how it is, it seems like the AUSA is intimidating accusers. It seems like the AUSA is intimidating witnesses, right? Because these people are supposed to be so terrified of Robert, but you go and make an email saying the Pied Piper. I just can't make sense of it. I can't make sense of it. No way. No deal. As my boy Black CEO say, no deal. It don't. That doesn't resonate with me. I have questions for the AUSA. I have questions for the federal government. What was discussed in the personal conversation between Jim and the AUSA crew? We know one thing that was discussed between Crew and Jim. We know one thing for sure that was discussed. Him sending over this manuscript to his book. We all heard them say. We all heard Jim. We all heard Cash. We all heard Demetrius say that these people, some of the accusations that was coming out to the public. Hear me now. Hear me out when I say this. Hear me clear when I say this. We heard Jim, we heard Demetrius, we also heard Cash say that, even we heard Geronda say that some of the accusations that were being pinned on Robert Kelly came from these books. So these books was pivotal to the charges that they are charging this brother with. These stories come from the book. These stories come from these books. So these books are pivotal to this case. They can't convince me that they were just talking to Jim just to be talking to Jim. He's a damn music critic. So how did he become a private investigator all of a sudden when it's pertaining to R. Kelly? He's an investigative journalist all of a sudden. They just made a lane for him. They just made a lane for him. Oh, he's an investigative journalist. Investigative journalist? This fucker just said he was a music critic. Which one is it? Which one is it? Because I'm going to need to hold him to a higher standard if he is an investigative journalist and receiving a tape in the mail, anonymously receiving a tape in the mail, watching the tape and realizing what was on the tape. Instead of him taking the tape to the authorities, he called an artist. He called an artist. They say he's an investigative journalist. Okay. We stupid. They smart. I guess that's what the AUSA say. The AUSA, they smart. They get paid the big bucks to do the dumbest shit ever. I tell y'all we gonna see if our judicial system is gonna be fair and impartial. Because based off of the things that we've heard, based off of the things that we've been seeing with our own two eyes, ain't no way this case should be going to trial. You have the government admitting to 3 other tapes are not the original tapes. They can't produce the chain of custody. They can't produce the authenticity of the tapes. So how is these tapes even relevant? How did they get to Cook County? We know one of the tapes got delivered in a mailbox to Jim DeRogatis. One of the tapes got delivered to CNN, who has the best of the best technology to alter, doctor, whatever. CNN got the top of the top. So we as taxpayers, we expect to see fair and impartial justice served across the board. But when our government starts to allow things like crooked, criminal people to get involved with their work, then, hey, Avera said we already know that answer, Vi. I'm going to be surprised if the judge get rid of the tapes. I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful, but at the same time, like you say, that's a shame that we have to sit back and be like, well, we know they're going to allow this bullshit to happen. That's crazy. As taxpayer citizens, we have to be like, man, we know they're going to allow some bullshit to take place. Because we can't trust these people to do the right thing. How is it that we can't trust these people to do the right thing? That's crazy. It's crazy. But we know that Jim talked to the AUSA in private. Whatever they talked about in private was mainly about his book. He sent them the manuscript to his book, the PDFs as well, and he also followed up with phone calls to the AUSA and told them, hey, if y'all need any more information, I'll help you all as much as I can. So he told the federal government, I can help y'all as much as I can. But when he's subpoenaed by the defense, he want to take the fifth. He shouldn't be allowed to plead the fifth, especially after committing 3 felony crimes that he admitted to. They bullied, coerced these women into saying it was her. The family broke. Now it's about money, not R. Kelly's life. Exactly. I agree. The daddy gone. That's the spine to the family. The daddy was still a musician for R. Kelly, cleaned up until he passed away. Now the dad gone. Alexander, what's up? The dad has gone. Dad gone now. Now they bribing. We all know who got the most resources in this country. The government. The government got all the resources in the world. The government can offer you, man, they say, I just listened to a video the other day. The government spent over $500 million a year just on informants. On informants alone. Jim has to take the stand. I agree. He got to take the stand. Or he need to be charged. If he ain't going to take the stand, then he need to be charged for touching, watching, and showing child porn. Those are 3 felony crimes that he himself admitted to committing. 3 felony crimes that he committed. He need to be charged. If he don't want to testify, he need to be charged. Simple as that. Exactly. I agree. Even if she, like I asked myself, with the production of the tape, they said they couldn't identify the female on the tape, age, or whatever. Even if she testify and say it's her, how can she prove that it's her? They said the mole on the back of the fella in the tape, the mole on the back of the person in the tape kept coming and going. More than likely, it was gone more than it was there. Say, Bojine got work to do. Do you think she need to get Andrew Wyatt? Got to be hired by Andrew. Got to be hired by R. Kelly. Andrew can only be hired by R. Kelly, and that's why when Andrew spoke, he said that he tried to, come on with R. Kelly, but people in his inner circle was, making that not happen. He said that he was willing to do the work for no charge, but they would have to pay for his traveling expenses and hotel stays and things like that. But he wasn't going to charge him like I guess a crazy amount of money. So, I mean, we just gotta continue to pray. We gotta continue to pray, put it in God's hand, and believe in the prayers that we send up. Because like I tell people all the time, ain't no sense in you praying for me if you don't believe in the prayers that you pray for yourself. Exactly, Gail. They did not want him to get help. They did not want Kels to get help. But DeRogatis, Jim know who put that tape in the mail. Jim also know who called his phone and told him to go to the mailbox. He know Jim is not trying to implement anyone, but he know where this tape come from. He knows how he got this tape. Don't know anybody just have your personal home address, and don't know anybody just have your personal home number or cell number. Don't know anybody just had it. That's just not something that anybody you just give out to anybody. So I'm quite sure, I'm more than positive that Jim knows who put that tape in his mail. Jim also knows who called him to go and check their mailbox. He knows. But like I say, he shouldn't be allowed to plead the Fifth Amendment when he committed 3 felony crimes. Now that tape ain't coming in the mailbox. That tape was hand delivered to him. Hand delivered to him. They said, we need somebody who's willing to turn this tape in that really don't give a damn. It's a dirty game. It's a dirty game they played. But they call this man an investigative journalist. And the only person he ever investigated was R. Kelly. Make that shit make sense. I'll wait. They call this man a investigative journalist. What did he ever investigate? Who did he ever investigate outside R. Kelly? And if you in the emails, it say he followed up after sending his manuscript to the AUSA. He followed up with calls to volunteer more information if they needed it. So if he was willing to volunteer information to the AUSA, he need to be held accountable and put on the stand to volunteer that same information to the federal government, also to the defense team. I believe Sparkle hands is all over the tape. I believe all of those people that was mad at R. Kelly at the time, hands are all over the tapes. So you mean to tell me that this man normally walks around with this shit that they make it seem like he walks around with a tape full of bags. So he knowingly walks around with a tape full of bags and knowing that child porn may be on there. You would have think he would have had a lock on the bag. You would think he would have had a lock on the bag. Don't you think that? Don't you know if this man walking around with a bag that got how much time he could have got if he would have got pulled over and the police just took that bag and went through that bag and say, hey, it's child porn. Do you really believe that this man was walking around with a bag with fucking child pornography in it? You gotta be fucking crazy if you believe that shit. You know how dangerous that's just like him walking around with a fucking gun in his hand in public. You walking around with a tote bag full of fucking tapes that possibly have child porn on it. You might well be walking around with bricks of drugs in your hand. You might well be walking around with bricks of cocaine. You might well be walking around with fully automatic guns just in plain sight. So you gonna sit here and be committing a crime like you just don't give a fuck. They want us to believe like this brother just didn't give a fuck about his own life. They want us to believe that R. Kelly did not give a fuck about his own life to where he would walk around with a duffel bag full of tapes with child pornography in it. Are y'all serious? A 15-year sentence? A 15-year sentence? He walking around with a 15-year sentence in the bag? Come on, man. These people, the shit they want us to believe. And all of a sudden, you just gonna steal a tape? Or you gonna go steal out of a bag full of tapes And the tapes that you happen to steal is the tape with child pornography on it. Come on, man. Come on. Something missing in this gumbo. Something missing in this shit. Something is missing. Just like the guy up in Pennsylvania. You go in the attic of your home and pull out an old box of VHS tapes to watch the World Series, and just so happen the fucking tape that you pull out of the box is a tape with child porn on it. Oh, the whole fucking world just stupid, right? The whole world just stupid, right? What they think we on fentanyl or something? What we on drugs or something? So y'all just gonna put anything in our pipe and we supposed to smoke it, right? No deal. I ain't going. I ain't going. I ain't going. It's too many elements to this shit that when you really look at it in its totality, just ask yourself, why would this man walk around with a bag full of tapes with child porn in? That's asking to go to jail. That means you might well walk around with 2 bricks in your goddamn pocket. I mean, you might well walk around with fucking 2 guns in the state of New York in your hand, where New York you don't have a license to carry. Man, they can't silence R. Kelly, Alazar. What they did is they woke up a sleeping giant. They just ain't realized it yet. A talent like that, you can't silence a voice like that. You can't silence a talent like that. When he say y'all should have done this 30 years ago, he meant they should have never let him plant his voice into the world. They should have never let him plant his musical seed into the world. Once he planted his musical seed into this world, it was over from that point. It was over from that point. Once he opened his voice and started to sing, the universe heard that shit and it was over with. They will never, ever be able to silence this man, no matter how they try to tear him down, no matter how they tarnish him, no matter how they drag him, they will never be able to silence R. Kelly. That man's name will live long as this goddamn earth is existing. You can't. You know what I'm saying? Some shit is like my brother say, that's God's gift. God gifted. That's a generational talent right there. He didn't work for that shit. He was blessed with that. And when God bless you, the only one who can take that blessing away is God. And that's what these people are not realizing. They trying to be God, but can't nobody be God but God. There's only one God. And what they tell us all the time, God give it and he takes it away. So them trying to silence R. Kelly, they got to be crazy. How can you silence a voice that y'all didn't even give? I hope they listen. I hope they listen. I hope they listen. Yeah. Uh-huh. Because they need to understand. They need to understand. How can y'all silence a voice that y'all didn't even give? Cheryl say, what is Jennifer Bojangles' next motion and what will it say? We don't know. We just got to stay. Hey, we got today. Well, today is Friday. Saturday ain't Sunday. We got 3 days. So ain't no telling what's finna be dropping and what's finna be falling. We just gotta be aware. We gotta be woke. And we gotta stay woke. A lot of stuff is finna transpire. You know? Man, look. We just gotta pray. And like I said, we gotta pray. And when I mean pray, we gotta say a prayer that we believe in. We gotta say a prayer that we mean. Because a lot of times people pray, and a lot of people that pray, they say they praying for you, they actually be praying against you. So you have to watch out for those type of people as well. Because everybody that pray with you ain't praying for you. My grandma told me that. Everybody that pray with you ain't praying for you. Some people gonna be praying for your downfall. But you gotta pray even harder. You gotta pray every time you feel like praying, you just gotta start praying. You can be in the grocery store, you can be in a restaurant, you can be at work, you can be driving in your car. Whenever you feel the need to pray, you just gotta start praying because there's people out here working hard every day to keep you down. There's people out here working hard that don't want to see you prosper. You got people out here praying to see you praying for you to come and ask them for something, so they can go talk about it to somebody else. You got people out here praying to see you struggle. But you got to protect yourself in the armor of the Lord. And God told you, long as you protected by him, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. But you have to protect yourself and pray over you each and every day and shield yourself. Because if we see one thing for sure, Kelly was praying a lot. Our Kelly was shielded by God's prayer. He was shielded by his spiritual belief in God because he's still here to tell his story. Look at all these crooked people around this man. None of the people that he was around for 30 years. Not one person took out the time to help this brother. Not one person cared to figure out what was going on with this brother. This man, his entire life has been situation after situation after situation after situation after situation. After going through so much in your life, after going through so much, after going through so many trials and tribulations, eventually, it's going to come a point in your life where you're going to get to tell your story. Where you're going to get to break free from a lot of the bondage that was holding you back. As Steve Harvey say, there's no testimony without a test first. Kel's been tested throughout his whole life. And no matter how many tests has came against him, he's continued to strive forward. He's continued to move. He's continued to progress. All these people coming against this brother, he was still able to be the musical genius. He was still able to care. He was still able to love. He was still able to pay for funerals. He was still able to donate to charity. He was still able to do and create a family, be a husband, be a father, despite all of these things that came against this brother. We don't over here, we don't say that Kels is just a saint. We ain't saying this man ain't never done nothing wrong in his life because he told us on Gam King, I have done some wrong in relationships. He said, but I fixed those wrongs while in those relationships. Right, Alazar? I agree, Gail. I agree. It's sad, man. It's sad. It's sad that one man had to come across so much evil, so many dirty people, so many crooked people, so many jealous-hearted people, so many people wanted to be him and not put in the work. How the hell did Jim DeRogatis, a music critic of R&B music, something that he could never be, something that he could never understand, something that he could never relate to? He could never relate to R&B music. He can never relate to our culture. But I ain't gonna hold y'all too much longer on here. I just wanted to come in. I just wanted to really come on and talk about the motion from the AUSA and them talking as if those emails between Jim and Angel Crew, was just simply emails, bullshit, and that's not true. They met in person. They spoke in person. They had a conversation in person. What was the conversation about? We know one thing the conversation was about, and that was about him sending over his manuscript, aka blueprint to his book. Hey, what else did they discuss? We seen him ask the AUSA if they needed any more information. He would help as much as he could. So he volunteering to talk to the AUSA, but he won't volunteer to get on the stand. We need to make a change. We need to see a different approach to that. He need to be made to stand firm on what he's been saying. He need to be held accountable. So I'm gonna go over on Twitter. I'm gonna hashtag hold Jim DeRogatis accountable. We gonna flood Twitter. We gonna flood YouTube. Hashtag hold Jim DeRogatis accountable. Yeah, Kels has done a lot for the music industry and for a lot of people involved in the music industry. So, you know, but one thing about it is this is a spiritual battle, and Kels gotta go through this. You know, it was meant for him to be in this position because only he can fight these people the way that God is going to allow him to fight these people. So y'all make sure y'all continue to get those prayers up, man. Every day, man. We as of right now, we 3 days away from trial. We 3 days away from trial. 3 days away from the trial. So tomorrow, tomorrow, I look forward to talking to y'all, catching up with y'all, and I thank y'all for coming through tonight. Everybody that came up, showed up. Uh, I got to get back to work. I appreciate y'all for coming through. Until next time, free Kales, hashtag hold Jim DeRogatis accountable. And damn, Skylight, oh my God, Skylight, you need to go live. But I'm about to get up out of here. But I had to come on. I had to come on and speak to Jim. I had to come on and let Jim know we watching. Man, hold on. See, people coming in as I'm about to go out the door. But make sure y'all, if y'all can, just go back and watch a little bit of the video. Uh, Go back and watch a little bit of the video. But I got a little work to do, so I gotta end my live right now. But I appreciate everybody that came over. Just go back and catch some of the beginning of the video. I spoke to the degree of Angel Cruz and Jim DeRogatis meeting. Uh, they had a meeting earlier the same day that he sent over the manuscript to his book. He had a meeting with Angel Cruz in private. So I wonder what that meeting was about, since the government is trying to act as if the emails was just simply emails of him sending over manuscripts to his book and simply that. But what was the personal conversation about that they had? We know it was about the book because he sent the book over. But then my other issue is he called back to Angel Cruz. He reached back out to Angel Cruz and asked did they need any more information. So he started to volunteer any information that he had. My problem with that is you volunteer information to the AUSA, but when you are subpoenaed to get on the stand, to stand and be held accountable for these accusations you made, you want to plead the fifth. I don't feel like this brother should be able to plead the fifth after committing 3 felony crimes. He received the tape, meaning he touched the tape, he watched the tape, and he also showed the tape to Sparkle. Those are 3 crimes that he admitted to. 3 crimes that he admitted to. 3 felony crimes that he admitted to. How do he get to plead the fifth? Then these people running around with this narrative as if Rob carried around this bag of tape with child porn. So you mean to tell me this dude walking around with a 15-year sentence in his bag? He walking around with a 15-year sentence in his bag. Everywhere he go, he got a 15. Everywhere he go, he walking around with a 15-year sentence in his bag. That he can lose this bag at any time or anything. He can get pulled over. Anything could possibly happen with the wildlife that, with all these people out here that was after this brother. Anything could have possibly happened. Look at how many people was after this brother. And he walking around with a duffel bag full of tapes and perhaps claiming to allegedly have child pornography on some of the tapes. Okay. But make sure y'all go back and check out the replay. Hold Jim accountable. Everybody have a blessed, wonderful night. We 3 days away, man. Let's continue to pray. Let's hashtag free Kels, hashtag hold Jim accountable, man. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Thank y'all so much for coming over and hanging with me tonight. I'll catch y'all tomorrow. Y'all be blessed. Let's pray a positive, impactful prayer and make sure so God can get the message and God can understand that we down here working hard. We working hard, but we praying even harder that God show favor in this Chicago trial and show favor in Judge Littleweather and that he see the injustice that is going on with our young King Robert Sylvester Kelly. Free Kels until we see Kels, and I'm out of here.